Good morning, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and this is my discussion video on the potential greatness coming out of Cyberstorm Access. This set is absolutely insane. Personally, in my personal opinion, this is definitely going to be the best set of the year. At least of right now, I think this is better than Dueling Nexus, and I think it's better than Wild Survivor. Now I don't know what sets are after those, and if we whatever that September set's going to be, which I'm pretty sure is Dueling Nexus. But this set right here is absolutely bonkers crazy. Not only are we getting two new decks into the format, but our current decks, besides Kashtira, are just getting super boosted out the wazoo. So I feel like because we're a week away from the sneak peek of this amazing set, we should at least discuss the metagame as a whole and what's going to change going forward. First things first, let's talk about the two new archetypes entering the metagame. Everyone's favorite super heavy samurais have now become a meta contending deck. Which, if you told me 2 years ago that super heavy samurai is one of my favorite gimmicky ass OTK decks that play with no spell or traps because they locks them out of the game, would be able to compete with the meta with only 4 or 5, or I guess it's like 6 or 7 cards, I would not have believed you. But here we are, and this deck is absolutely taking names. This deck is crazy. It's super cool. It doesn't play any spells and traps because, of course, it'll turn off the super heavy samurais. But who cares? Because it's wombo combo. And if you don't have Droll, we're just playing through everything. And yeah, it's a super really cool deck. I've seen some lists. People are playing Karakuri in the main deck of Kaijus. People are playing a whole bunch of like really interesting cards to get around a spell restriction. I've seen people playing Archfiend Eccentric as a spell and trap removal because they don't have access to Cosmic, which is absolutely insanely funny. Now, don't get me wrong, this deck is definitely cool, and I love that it's all super rare or lower. So far, nothing has been higher than super rare, which is insanely cheap for the deck, which is happy because some heavy samurais don't deserve to be expensive. And I don't think it'll be that great. I think that Drone Lockbird and Dark Ruler and things like that will definitely put it in its place. But if your opponent don't draw those, holy shit, this deck is comboing off. You can't really stop it. Ash Blossom isn't enough. Imperm is not enough. This deck combos and wombos, and you can't do much about it. And I absolutely love it. So I'm super happy that Super Heavy Samurais are finally in the meta contention. And I love that the hype of this deck has made every Super Heavy Samurai card, which are two nickels that you rub together, now like $5 for each card, which is absolutely absurdly insane, and I can't wait to see this deck win at locals. Now, let's talk about the other elephants in the room. We got Pearlies. Now, Pearlies also get two new cards in this set, and they're absolutely absurd. Pearly is the big OCG talk of the town. This deck is taking names, is apparently the best deck in the OCG, which isn't saying much because Tier Element is still the second best deck in that format. And we all know Tier Elements is very good, but definitely a rogue deck this format. So, personally, I don't know how great Pearly will be in a TCG. I don't know what the difference here from there is, but I just feel like with the power level and the ceilings of Branded and Cash and all these other decks, I don't see how Pearly isn't just like being outclassed by like Runic and shit. I just feel like the ceilings are so high. The deck makes two XYZs. Don't get me wrong, the XYZs are insane. Towers is towers, but we already have Agnisters, and they're not doing anything this format. So, I don't know. The XYZ drawing you 6 is cool, but when Karakuri's already in side decks and it can just distribute your opponent's stuff, I don't know how good it is. I think the deck's definitely awesome and has huge potential, but when decks are like literally unironically playing the Churia Beast, I don't know how good it'll be. I just really don't. The deck lives and dies by its spell cards, and if some rogue player just flips an anti-spell, you kind of just concede. So we'll just have to find out and see if the deck will hold up in the TCG. But for now, I think it's a little too much hype, but I still think it's definitely going to be a tier 1 contender. Next, we have 2 new cards. I do want to mention these real quick. I don't think they'll be too broken, but I feel like it'll be a crime if I don't mention them. Libromancer and Dynamorphia are getting 2 insane cards to support this set. Not only is Dynamorphia getting the counter trap that basically says, hey, I negate a monster, and I can no longer die from battle this turn, and I just continuously have my life points until literally you're forever skill drained. But Libromancer is getting a ridiculously powerful consistency spell in the form of Libromancer Origin Story. That card is absolutely absurd, and now any ritual plus a name is this full combo, which is kind of ridiculous, especially when a deck has counter traps and a whole bunch of really, really cool tools. So do not sleep on these 2 archetypes. No one's talking about them, but I definitely feel like they have potential for greatness, especially since last set Dogmatica's got a whole bunch of great cards with the ultimate being. Now, I do want to keep going, but one more thing. We also got a new Nadir Servant target. The new golden guy, who's like a common or super, can be sent to graveyard, and he's just compulsively sent to grave, which is absolutely great. Meaning one Nadir Servant equals Mirror Jade back to the extra deck it goes, which is absolutely absurdly funny, and I kind of love it. And now let's talk about the decks that get stronger this set. And I feel like the big elephant and the big talk of the town is Branded. Branded is getting a new fusion monster. It's their final hurrah of support before Konami sends them to the Wolves and banlists the shit out of them. And rightfully so, because the new fusion and the new cards they get are absolutely absurd. The fact that the fusions is basically explosion but better is absolutely crazy. And the fact that they're accessing to synchros on your opponent's turn is incredibly disrespectful. Like, what's the whole point of Branded Fusion's lock? If you're like, cool, I'm locked on the fusions on my turn, and I'm going to synchro summon on your turn. And not even like properly summon them. Like you're going to cheat them out with a freaking fusion monster. How crazy is that? Or with a trap card nonetheless. I just feel like this deck gets more crazy and disrespectfully evil every minute. And Konami, please hurt this shit out of this deck. I mean, I love it. I love Branded. You can't say I don't. I made like 20 videos. I topped like twice at locals with it. So probably my best performing deck of all time was Branded Tier Element. But come on, man. You gotta hit this shit. The Bestials are coming back in full swing with a vengeance. And every card is going to be playing, what's it called, Cyber Angel. And every other stupid busted synchro that's coming out this set. So yeah, Brandon's crazy and cracked. And they don't even really need the damn Gimmick Puppet lock. But hey, we'll just give them a fusion. It does it easier. So eat shit, I guess. Alright, so let's keep going. Other cards like this get improvably better. I gotta talk about my punks, my boys. We got the new Gold Pride support, and it's absolutely insane. I already went over a whole video on that and my deck profiles, my first impressions, my initial deck profile, and I feel like my deck profile going forward with the Furions is probably my permanent list for now until I get better stuff. But yeah, this deck is absolutely stupid, and yeah, I'm just super happy for our Gold Pride friends. These cards are absolutely crazy. The continuous spell is freaking tanky on legs. The XYZ is Dante, and yeah, the fusion's just super poly. So that's just insane to me. Now let's keep going. So after our Gold Pride friends, we have some new Visa Star Fox lore. We have Mana Dome also entering the metagame. I kind of forgot about them. There's 3 decks entering the metagame. I don't think Mana Dome will be quite into our metagame until the next set of Dueling Nexus, but it's still possibly in our metagame this format. And rightfully so. This deck is a very, very powerful synchro-based archetype that it's kind of like dinosaurs in a way, where you pop the level babies to then like help you synchro climb. Now dinosaurs can do a whole bunch of other things besides synchro climbing, but yeah, Manodome is or Manodium is definitely a very powerful deck going into the future. Cyber Angel is insane. Not to mention the other cards that we're getting for the deck. I definitely think it has huge waves of potential, but until we get Dueling Nexus, I don't know if he'll be in the meta contention. Moving on, Sword Souls get a huge buff. Not only are they getting Ringo Worm, which is an amazing extender for the deck, but they're also getting a bunch of synchros. My friend is talking about playing Bestial Sword Soul just because it's so easy now to access Angel of Chaos Turbo, which is absolutely insane. And yeah, I think beware Sword Soul. They've been like the same deck for the last 10 formats, but now this is their time to shine as the twilight of their deck is on the horizon, because this is the best they'll ever going to be until they get some more stuff in like 3 years. But yeah, Sword Soul's pretty insane. Another deck which a lot of people I think are sleeping on, and I have to do this. I don't think it's going to be meta, but I do have to mention this. My friend loves water decks, so I gotta mention this. The new Ice Jade card comes out, and yeah, it's absolutely insane. Every water deck now basically has access to a free Baron, a free level 10 Synchro, which is kind of nutty. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know how good this card is. I think it's solid, but we'll just have to see in the future. But I definitely think Ice Jades are at the peak of their prime, and who knows, all it takes is one amazing pilot to crack the code and finally make water back into the format. I think that's really about it. We talked about Manodome, talked about Gold Pride, Pearly. We talked about the Super Heavy Samurais. We talked about all the crazy new synchros we're getting, from the basic synchros to that. We talked about the punks. What else is in this set? Oh wait, that's right. Cyber support, Mathmex, rejoice, Code Talkers, rejoice, and shit, even Salamangreats, rejoice, because you have a new wave, a new being of firewall access. And yeah, these cards are kind of crazy. I've seen some stupid lists, and beware of this deck going off, because this deck literally goes through this entire extra deck, then like 20 interruptions. Best of luck to you. This deck takes 20 minutes to play, and it is practically solitaire. But is that overhyped? We'll just have to find out, since Droll is officially the best hand trap of the upcoming format. Not only does it stop my poor Gold Pride Furion Punks, but it also stops a lot of decks. It stops Pearly. It stops Super Heavy Samurais. It stops a lot of decks going forward. And I definitely feel like if you don't have Droll, you should definitely pick up yourself a playset. Well, I forgot a couple of things, so here's me editing a couple new cards into the matter. We have the new B Trooper Insta Fusion target, the level 5, that brings the TCG and the OCG closer to B Trooper supremacy. I don't think this deck is crazy. Actually, I do. I do think it's crazy. I just don't think anyone's crazy enough to play it. I think B Trooper and Insects as a pile deck is absolutely absurdly has the potential to be broken with all the crazy cards we've been getting for Insects, from Mantis and Photon Hypernova to all the crazy Insects we got in the last few sets. But I still don't think anyone has the cojones to learn how to play the Bug Masters. So until someone cracks that code, we'll just have to wait and see. As for other decks that I forgot to mention, every trap deck should rejoice, because we have a new draw 2 every turn in the form of time. Frick, I forgot how to pronounce this card. Time, whatever. It's the one that gives you 2 normal summons and 2 draws every turn, which is absolutely absurdly good. So every draw phase, you draw 2, and every phase, you have 2 normal summons, which is absolutely crazy. Now, you are locked to some monsters from your hand, but who cares when you're drawing 2 every turn? It's like Pot of Greed, but in your draw phase. And it's also double summon. Absolutely crazy. Other cards, we gotta talk about Numeralia comes out in this set. The Numeralia cards are cool. They play with your Senjus. They should be pretty cheap. I don't think you should worry about that. But I definitely do want to mention them. I don't think they'll be meta, but hey, who knows? Maybe some Grand Module player will crack the code, and these cards are crazier than everyone's letting on. And now I think that's it. There is a couple like random one-off cards like Infinite Trek and a new level 5. Things like that. S-Force, I think, get their support this set. Things like that, but nothing to crack the ceiling and completely shape the metagame than the cards we already discussed. So that's really about it. And I did it again. I forgot the Constellar Knights / Stellar Knights support that we're also getting, which doesn't make the deck meta, but definitely makes it solid. Shit. Welp. Crazy. I know I mentioned the Visa Starfrost support. I know I talked about Mana Dome, but just in case you didn't hear me, we also have the new Fusion Visa Starfrost, which is crazy on its own. And it's going to make Hero like some weird plasma turbo out, what's it called? Mr. Baron de Fleur turbo deck, which should be pretty fun to experiment with, especially in Punk. Expect a video soon. But that's really about it. Hope you all enjoy. Don't think stupid. See you all next time. Bye.